Oh my God, if I die, I'm a legend. When they lay me down to rest, I know I was always repping. Oh my God, my whole life.
What's up, guys? It's Soba Squad here. Martin speaking. Today I'm on my life story. Dylan did this yesterday and it turned out really well. I'm happy with the way it came out. So yeah, today's my turn. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to start from the very beginning. I was born in 1997. I'm still young, only 20 years old, here in Johannesburg in South Africa. And I was born a year later, 1998. My sister was born. I won't mention her name yet, but you'll see her in the future, definitely. When I was born, I actually had a very good upbringing. Everything I had was taken care of. Everything I needed was taken care of. I went to a good school. I never ran short on anything. I had two very loving parents. But as you find out later on, things changed quite a lot. I don't really remember too much of my pre-primary school days, but that maybe I don't even need to remember anything from there. I'll start with grade 1, here as we call it in South Africa. I don't know what it's like in America, but in grade 1, I started going to school, obviously. That was back in 2004. And I remember a lot of things very clearly. First of all, I was a huge introvert. I was very, very shy. I was very scared to actually approach people. And as a result of that, I had a very hard time making friends. I never really made any good friends. I made 1 or 2 friends along the years there in my beginning of my school days. But nothing too significant. Also remember that back then I couldn't even approach women because women were very terrifying to me. I know that may sound funny, but I think that all stems from the lack of confidence I had and my self-esteem issues. So from grade 1 to grade 6, it's basically the same trend. I always, because I only had 1 or 2 friends, for some reason I actually always desired, popularity in school and attention. That's really what I wanted. I wasn't happy with the friends I had because, to be honest, they weren't too popular, and that's what I wanted. So I hang on to them just to have something, but I was always waiting for something better to come. Going into grade 6, I actually met a friend that I think he got put in my class, but for some reason we had a connection and kicked it off. And I think this friend, he's still a very good friend of mine today. He helped me a lot in terms of my social life and coming out of my bubble. And I'm very grateful for him because he's even stuck it through me all these years. And so grade 6 came and my friend circle started growing. Grade 6, I actually got invited to my first party basically, and at that party was the first time I got drunk. That feeling still sticks to me to this day. That first time getting drunk was the first time I actually felt a good connection to people. So I hung on to that from the very beginning. Soon after that, things started to change a lot for me in school. My friend group got a lot bigger. I started getting invited to a lot more parties, and life actually started becoming better, or so I thought. But at this time, I think that in grade 7, my grandmother actually died. My grandmother and grandfather actually lived in South Africa in the very same estate as us, and she died. For some reason her death didn't hit me too hard, and life just carried on for me like normal. Going into high school was, I think, when the shit really started to hit the fan. This is when drugs started. It became a weekend thing. This is where you can clearly see the progression of it. In grade 9, about 3 years after I started drinking, I actually smoked weed for the first time. I immediately got hooked onto that like crazy. I never went into it moderately. I smoked it for the first time, and ever since then, it just became a daily thing from the start. I had no self control when it came to it, and at that same time, my marks at school also started dropping quite a lot. So yeah, at this point in my life, I was smoking weed every day. I was drinking every weekend, and also at very dangerous levels. I always I always passed out from drinking too much. It was never a moderate thing. The following year in grade 10, there was a very popular music festival that actually came around to South Africa. And if me and a few friends decided that it would be a good idea to do MDMA at this festival. So we did it. I also really enjoyed it. I mean, I loved everything I did actually. But it was also like the feeling of connection you had to people, that temporary feeling that everyone loves you and there's no problems in your life. It was just incredible. I'll never forget it. Obviously, MDMA being a bit of a harder drug, unfortunately the drugs did get harder. A year after that, I started with a drug called cat here in South Africa. It's actually called methcathinone, and coke. I started that in grade 11. That became a monthly thing. From being a monthly thing, it became a weekend thing, and from that it was a daily thing. That stuck with me for a very long time. I was always cycling through drugs. I was always going through phases. At times I only drank, sometimes I only did cat. At times I only smoked weed. But most of the time it was doing everything together. I also experimented with a lot of psychedelics, shrooms, acid, dimethyltryptamine. I never really loved that too much. It was never really euphoric for me. But yeah, as I feel that even though I was doing drugs before grade 11, I think grade 11 was when things started really going on a downward spiral for me. In grade 10, at the end of grade 10, my mother passed away. And then I think 3 months later, my grandfather passed away. So from then, I didn't deal with it. I just dug myself deeper and deeper into the hole of addiction. It got very, very unpleasant. I managed to scrape through matric, barely. But yeah, that's how it was. When I left school, I had no ambition to find a job. I had no ambition to get into a varsity. It just got worse and worse. I basically stayed at home all day and found ways to drink and drug. At that point in April, 4 months after leaving school, I got sent to Poland to go work there. And for a few months of my life there, things started balancing out again. I stopped the drugs completely because I was in a foreign country. Also, there are very strict drug laws there. I wasn't willing to go too overboard there. But the drinking was still a problem. At first I was, drinking every day, but slowly I cut it down to only on the weekends. Still very unmanageable, as I never had it moderately. It was always balls to the wall. I came back from Poland. Everyone was pretty happy with me. But as soon as I came back to South Africa, everything started again. The drugs started instantly, and things got even worse than they were before. So last year, when I came back from Poland, I got sent to my first rehab, which was actually a psychiatric hospital here in my area. I went there for 3 weeks and got out in 5 days, relapsed. After that, 2 or 3 months later, I got sent to my second rehab for 24 days. I had an option of going to a halfway house or secondary treatment after that, so I decided to go to a halfway house after that, and that I had a sobriety stint of 17th of November 2016 to the 11th of March 2017. At the 11th of March, I relapsed again. My heart wasn't really fully into it because I was never really seeking recovery there. I was just trying to make people happy. And I relapsed there, and I went back to that same rehab for a detox. As I had a job back then, I couldn't do a 24-day program again. So I went there for a detox and went straight back into a halfway house. During that time, it also didn't go too well. I didn't last too long, as I relapsed weeks into it there. And there, I think at that point, my desire to stay clean became stronger due to my last relapse. It was only, I think, 15 days, but it was completely unbearable. It came to the point where I had nowhere to go to, I had no money. I was actually sleeping in my car for 15 weeks, just, trying to survive, trying to find drugs, trying to find alcohol, and making a plan where I can. That relapse lasted 15 days, and on the 17th of May this year, I decided to go back to my old halfway house from my relapse, and we organized for me to actually go into rehab. Although this rehab was very different to all the other posh rehabs that I went to in my life. I went there for 14 weeks, and while I was there, nothing changed. I wanted to be there. I was happy. I was there. Things in my life were slowly coming right. And on the 27th of August this year, I left there, and I had a huge fear when I was leaving there that I was going to come outside and relapse. But maybe it's because I wanted this time. It's actually a lot easier. For me, it's very easy. You have to just do what recovery requires of you, and you will stay clean. It's a guaranteed thing. I'm at the point where I am now. I'm almost 6 months. I think I'm actually 6 months tomorrow. And it felt like a really long time, but I've enjoyed every single day of my sobriety. I've never really had one bad day. They say that the worst day in recovery is still better than your best day in active addiction, and I strongly believe that. I strongly do, because now life is simple. My relationships are good again. Everything in my life is going right. I don't crave, I don't obsess over anything, and life's pretty simple, so I'm enjoying it a lot. I just want to end off, guys, by saying thank you for watching this video.
Action.
Well done, Maury. You looked a bit nervous there, bro.
I was very nervous. I didn't think I would be speaking to the camera.
I think you did a good job. What do you guys think? Hey?
We'll see.
It is a bit nerve-wracking in the beginning, but that's what we got to get used to. We got to share our story, share our truth, and carry on this road in recovery. I mean, the obsession's gone, it's been lifted. And don't you feel good after that?
I do. I do. I'm still a bit shaky, but I feel good.
But Soba Squad fans, thanks for watching. Enjoy your day.
Comment,
and,
like,
subscribe. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer. We've got a link with lots of other addicts. So the story never ends. Carries on. Okay. Cheers, Soba Squad out.
Cheers, guys.